Estamel Tharkon's journey through the darkened corridor of New Eden's underworld is a tale marked by betrayal and vengeance, and also a relentless pursuit of retribution. Born as the illegitimate child of a prominent Kaldari businessman and his Intaki mistress, Estamel was thrust into a world of conflict from the moment she took her first breath. Raised in the shadows of the Kaldari state's rigid social structure, her life was a continuous struggle against the forces that sought to define and confine her. Growing up, Estamel experienced the sting of rejection early on. Her father, a man of considerable influence within the Kaldari state, and her mother, once beloved mistress, now shunned, represented the two halves of her fractured identity. As a child, Estamel was caught between two worlds, neither fully accepted by her father's family nor completely embraced by her mother's people. This upbringing left deep scars, manifesting in rebellious streaks that became more pronounced as she entered her teenage years. The constant sense of abandonment and betrayal fueled a growing hatred within her, particularly towards the Kaldari state and everything it represented. By the time she reached her late teens, Estamel had become a force of defiance, unwilling to submit to the expectations imposed upon her by society. Her father's attempt to control her, to mold her into the proper Kaldari citizens, only pushed her further away. Eventually, she severed ties with her family altogether, vowing to make her own way in the universe, no matter the cost. Estamel's early career as a mercenary was marked by a fierce independence and a growing reputation for being a little too much. Her time with the Virkomi Peace Corps, a subsidiary of the Kaldari megacorporation Virkomi, was short-lived and disastrous. The rigid corporate structure, reminiscent of her father's influence, proved suffocating. Estamel's rebellious nature clashed violently with the disciplined environment, leading to her eventual departure. Turning her back on Kaldari state, Estamel became a gun for hire, selling her skills to the highest bidder. For several years, she thrived in the murky waters of the New Eden's mercenary trade, her hatred for the state growing with each successful contract. It wasn't long before she attracted the attention of the Gurista pirates, and within the Guristas, Estamel found kindred spirits, individuals who, just like her, have been betrayed by the state, and also sought to exact their revenge. In YC 98, at the age of 31, Estamel officially joined the Guristas pirates. Her introduction into the ranks was not a gradual affair. It was a violent ascension, fueled by her burning desire to bring the Kaldari state to its knees. Estamel's tactical brilliance, honed during her years as a mercenary, made her an invaluable asset to the Guristas. She quickly rose through the ranks, earning a reputation as one of their most ruthless and efficient fleet commanders. Estamel's domain became the region of Venal, a lawless territory on the fringes of Kaldari space, where the Guristas held significant influence. It was here she earned the nickname Venal Viper. Under her command, the Guristas' operations in Venal flourished. Estamel orchestrated daring raids against the Kaldari military targets, using her intimate knowledge of the state's tactics. Each victory was not just a strategic gain for the Guristas, it was also a personal vendetta against the state that had cast her aside. Her fleet, known for its ferocity and precision, became the spreadsheet for the Guristas' defense in Venal. Estamel's leadership style was one of ironclad authority. She demanded absolute loyalty and discipline from her subordinates, rewarding those who met her expectations with a place in her inner circle, and punishing failures with ruthless efficiency. Her reputation spread throughout the New Eden, and her name became synonymous with fear among Caldari forces. Despite her hardened exterior, Estemel's actions were driven by a deeply personal pain, a desire to dismantle the Caldari state, piece by piece, until nothing remained. Each battle she fought was a step towards that ultimate goal, and she pursued it with a singular focus that left little room for anything else. Estemel Tarkon's story is one of vengeance turned into a lifelong crusade. As one of the most powerful figures within the Guristas Pirates, Estemel's influence also continues to shape the future of the organization. Her legacy is one of bloodshed, rebellion, and unrelenting desire to see the Caldari state crumble. The venal viper's rattlesnake shows no sign of slowing down. Her venomous wrath still poisoned to strike at the heart of the state that made her what she is. A force of destruction, a warrior forged in the fires of betrayal. In the cold, merciless New Eden, few pilots have a story as tragic and yet as fiercely defiant as Kaika Fenato. Born in the rigid and discipled society of Caldari state, Kaika's journey from a promising young officer in the Caldari Navy to one of the most notorious tacticians in the Guristas Pirates is a tale of personal tragedy. It's also a tale of resilience and a relentless quest for belonging. Kaika Fenato was once a name that echoed with pride within the corridors of Caldari Navy. From an early age, it was clear that Kaika was a natural pilot, possessing an uncanny ability to maneuver through space with a precision that belied his youth. By the age of 18, he had already enlisted in the Caldari Navy, following the footsteps of his father, a stern and influential general in the Kimotoro defense fleet. His rise through the ranks was swift, and his peers and superiors alike recognized his potential. Kaika's tactical mind was razor sharp, and his loyalty to the Caldari state was unquestioned. But beneath the surface, Kaika harbored a secret that, in the rigid and conservative Caldari society, would shatter his career and his relationship with his family. In YC 101, at the age of 20, Kaika's secret was exposed. He was homosexual. In the Caldari state, where traditional values and conformities are often held above everything else, this revelation was nothing short of a scandal. Kaika's father, a hardline patriot who valued duty and honor above everything, was unforgiving. The disgrace brought upon the Fenato name was too much for him to bear, so he disowned Kaika, severing all ties with his son. The Caldari Navy, which Kaika had served with unwavering dedication, followed suit. Despite his perfect service record, Kaika was forced out, stripped of his rank, and cast out from the only life that he has ever known. The rejection from both his family and the Caldari left Kaika adrift, angry and disillusioned with the very society he has once vowed to protect. Now lost and nowhere to turn, Kaika found himself drawn to the stories of the Guristas Pirates. The tales of daring raids, close camaraderies, and the fierce independence of their leaders, Korako the Rabbit Kosami and Jirai Feito Laitanen, resonated deeply with him. Here was a group of outcasts and rebels who have defined the Caldari state and carved out their own place in the harsh universe. It wasn't long before Kaika made the decision to defect. He sought out the Guristas, offering his skills as a pilot and tactician, and recognizing his talents and potential, the Guristas welcomed him into the ranks. Kaika found in the Guristas the sense of belonging and acceptance that had been denied to him within the Caldari state. Kaika quickly proved his worth within the Guristas. His experience in the Caldari Navy gave him a unique perspective on state tactics, which he used to great effect in orchestrating raids and ambushes against his former comrades. Kaika's strategies were innovative and often catching his enemies off guard and earning him a reputation as one of the most cunning tacticians in the Gurista fleet. His knowledge of the Caldari military procedures allowed him to anticipate their moves, and his natural leadership abilities helped him and his fellow pirates. Kaika's influence within the Gurista grew, and he became instrumental in expanding their operations, pushing the boundaries of their influence further across the New Eden. Unlike many tacticians who prefer to command from the safety of a distant ship, Kaika Fenato often could be found in the front lines of conflict, leading his men into the battle. His courage and skills in combat were undeniable, and his presence on the battlefield inspired those who fought alongside him. But Kaika was not driven by a desire for power or revenge. For him, each battle was a way to prove to himself and to the universe that he was more than the labels that has been thrust upon him. He fought not just against the Caldari state, but against the stigma that has been attached to him, determined to carve out his own identity on his own terms. Today, Kaika is a name feared and respected to the Caldari state. He is a traitor and a dangerous outlaw, a constant reminder of the one that got away. And to the Guristas, he is the valued leader and a symbol of resilience. Kaika's story is one of survival against all odds, a testament to the strength of the human spirit in the face of rejection and adversity. He took the hand that life dealt him and forged it into a weapon, cutting his own path through the stars in his rattlesnake. And while the universe may see him as a pirate, a renegade, or a criminal, Kaika Fenato sees himself as something far more free. Thon NA's journey from a streetwise enforcer on the lawless planet of TXW-EI4 to one of the most feared and respected figures within the Gurista pirates is a tale of relentless ambition. It's also a tale of ruthless pragmatism and a knack of survival that few can match. Thon NA was born into a world where crime wasn't just a way of life. It was life itself. TXW-EI4 is a planet on the fringes of the Intaki Syndicate's influence. This was a breeding ground for smugglers, thieves, and mercenaries. From an early age, Thon learned the rules of the street. Trust no one, strike first, and always collect what's owed. As a teenager, she made her mark as an enforcer and racketeer for the Intaki Syndicate. She was feared and respected for her ability to collect on debts, whether through negotiation or more often through brute force. Her reputation grew as someone who could be relied upon to get the job done. While working for the Intaki Syndicate, Thawne also offered her services as an armed escort, protecting those who could afford her steep fees. But as time went on, she became increasingly dissatisfied with simply just enforcing the rules of others. She wanted more. She wanted more power, more wealth, more control over her own destiny. It was this insatiable greed that eventually led her to seek out new opportunities. In YC-98, that opportunity presented itself in the form of Guristas pirates. At that time, the Guristas were a young but rapidly growing organization, led by the infamous duo Fatal and the Rabbits. Their audacious raid and disdain for empires of New Eden had already made them legends in the underworld. To Thawne, they represented the ultimate chance to carve out a place for herself in a universe that had never given her anything for free. Joining the Guristas at the age of 37, Thawne NA wasted no time proving her worth. She brought with her skills and experience honed by the streets of TXW IE4, along with an unquenchable thirst for power. Her rise through the ranks was meteoric, spurred by her charisma, leadership abilities, and a reputation for taking on the most dangerous assignments without hesitation. Her ability to command respect and inspire fear among her peers made her a natural leader within the Guristas. She was known for her no-nonsense approach to leadership. Those who followed her knew that failure was not an option and betrayal was a death sentence. Yet, despite her ruthless exterior, she was also fiercely protective of those who showed her loyalty, earning her the unwavering loyalty of her subordinates. As the years passed, Thawne NA became one of the Guristas' most trusted and influential commanders. Alongside other notorious figures like Estamel Charkhan, she helped to shape the future of this organization, expanding its reach and influence across New Eden. Under her guidance, the Guristas continued to grow in power, becoming one of the most feared pirate factions in the galaxy. But for Thawne, this was not only just about the money or the power, it was about the freedom to live by her own rules and to take what she wanted, and also to make her mark on the universe. And in that regard, she succeeded beyond anyone's expectations. To her enemies, she is a ruthless and cunning adversary, a woman who will stop at nothing to achieve her goals. Her story is one of survival, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of power. Thawne NA may have been born into a life of crime, but she turned that life into an empire, and her Raven into a force that will make sure that her legacy will live on. Vepa's Minimala story is one where loyalty is bought with blood, and betrayal is the currency of the brave. Born in YC-44 within the austere environment of the Kaldari state, Vepas was molded by a culture that valued discipline and loyalty, and also an unwavering commitment to the corporate structure. His life was one of service, driven by a deep sense of duty to the state. Yet, beneath the veneer of duty, there lurked a fire that the rigid structure of Kaldari Navy could never fully contain. A fire that would one day lead him to the Guristas pirates. For nearly 3 decades, Vepas Minimala served the Kaldari Navy with distinction. His tactical brilliance and unparalleled skill as a pilot quickly elevated him through the ranks. His peers regarded him as one of the finest combat tacticians of his generation, a man who could turn the tide of battle with his razor-sharp decisions and lethal precision. Yet, despite these accomplishments, Vepa's ambitions were smothered by the very system that he served. In YC 94, at the age of 50, Vepas was up for promotion to Admiral. However, the review of his combat performance, influenced by political machinations within the state, denied him this rank. For Vepas, this was not just a setback. This was betrayal. The Kaldari state, which he had served faithfully, has turned his back on him, dismissing his decade of service with a stroke of the pen. This betrayal ignited the fire within Vepas, a fire that has been smoldering beneath the surface for years. It was the moment that he realized that his loyalty has been misplaced, that the rigid hierarchy of the Kaldari Navy would never allow him to reach his true potential. And so, with a heavy heart but a clear mind, Vepas made a decision that would alter the course of his life forever. He defected to the Gurista pirates. The Guristas were still in their infancy when Vepas joined them, a band of renegades led by the enigmatic Jerai Laitanen, known as Fatal, and his companion the Rabbit. Despite their youth as an organization, the Guristas had already made a name for themselves with their audacious raids and their refusal to bow to any empire. For Vepas, they represented the freedom he had long sought, the freedom to command without the chains of corporate oversight, the freedom to fight for his own glory rather than the profit margins of the state. Vepas quickly became an integral part of Guristas' leadership, working closely with Fatal to plan some of the most dangerous and ambitious missions ever. His experience and tactical genius were invaluable assets to the Guristas, and many of the strategies he developed during these years are still used today. Whether it was striking behind the enemy lines or orchestrating daring escapes from seemingly impossible situations, Vepa's hand was evident in every major operation. But it was not just his mind that made Vepas legendary. It was his presence on the battlefield. Even as he entered his 60s, Vepas refused to retire from active combat. His lust for glory, coupled with an unrelenting desire to prove himself, drove him to lead from the front. He became known as the unyielding blade of the Guristas, a pilot who feared nothing and no one, whose name alone was enough to strike terror into the hearts of his enemies. Now, in his 70s, Vepas Minimalas remains one of the most formidable pilots in New Eden. Time has done little to dull his edge. If anything, it has only sharpened his resolve. To this day, he can be found in the front line of Guristas operations, leading his forces with the same ferocity and brilliance that has defined his entire career. For the younger generations of Guristas, Vepas is more than just a commander. He is a symbol of what it means to defy the odds, to reject the constraints of the empires, and to carve out one's own destiny into the cold, unforgiving void of space. One man's will can still shape the course of history. Vepas Minimala's tale is far from over, and as long as there are battles to be fought and glories to be won, the unyielding blade of the Guristas will continue to cut a bloody swath across New Eden in his rattlesnake.